Okay, getting ready for the STAAR. We have TEK A.9C, which is about exponential functions, and the equation. So we need to know what the A and the B and the X stands for. A is our initial value, or the y-intercept. B is the growth or decay rate. Alright, taking a look at number 17, this first question. There are 1,024 players in a tennis tournament. Each round, half of the players are eliminated. What is written? Well, we know this is the y-intercept, the initial value. All of the equations show that, so that's fine. And half of the players, there's the rate. That's, if it was growing, it would be 1.5. This is 1/2. That's 5% growth, and that's way too much decay. The answer is B, because it's half decay. Moving on to the next question. In the year 1900, the total number, we see 495,000. Each year it increased, so we know we're talking about growth, by 3.25%. Now, we know for percentage problems, they are trickier than the half or double growth rates. Y is equal to A, B to the X. Here's what makes it tricky. First of all, this is the non-tricky part. We have to turn the percent into a decimal. We move it over 2 times. That's dividing by 100, since a percentage is a ratio out of 100. So that would be 0.0325. We don't, however, just put that inside of the parentheses for the growth rate, because that is less than 1. It would be a decay. It would be reducing it by a significant amount. So for it to grow, we have to add 1 to it. So it's y is equal to 495,000, our y-intercept or initial value, and then 1 plus 0.0325 to the x. That's growing at a rate. The 1 keeps the original amount, and the 0.0325 is the growth that's being added onto it. Now, the decay problems with percentages are a step even harder than that. We'll go over it when we get to it. This next question is about a particular type of cell that doubles every hour, and it started initially with 4. Y is equal to 4. That's the initial value, and it doubles every time. So we know the answer is B. You see how simple these questions can be. All right, here we come to one where we have a decrease, a decay, and it's a rate of 3%. So here's going to be the hardest type of question. It's decaying, and it gives us a percentage. We have the starting value. So y is equal to 78000. That's the easy part. And now this decay percentage, first of all, we turn it into a decimal, move the decimal point over twice, 0.03. Now, we don't just put 0.03 in there. It is less than 1, so it would be decay. But what goes in the percentage, what goes inside, is what remains. The percentage that remains. We are decaying at 3%. 3% is not how much remains each round. So we have to do 1 minus 0.03, or 0.97. The answer is C. Let's just make sure we understand what's going on here. If I had said in the question, if the question had said the amount of fertilizer in the landscaping where what remains is 97%, of the amount that was before, then we wouldn't have to subtract from 1. We'd put that straight into the formula. But since it said what it's decaying by, what it is decreasing by, the amount that it's losing, we had to subtract it from 1. All right, on to the next question. This one is a good example of how it's saying. So we see that it has a base and each one is going to be smaller. And it's saying ring 1 is 87% of the base. So here it's not saying that it's decreasing by 87%. So 1, we know it's decay. Each one's getting smaller. We're working our way up and they're getting smaller. Y is equal to our base is 5. So that's our initial value. And the question is, am I going to put 87% in the parentheses? Or am I going to do 1 minus 0.87? Well, what goes inside the parentheses? It's what remains. And since it says 87% of the base is the next level, then that 87% is what remains, 0.87. We do not subtract from 1. So the answer for this one is F. The next question, we have a table. Which one represents? Well, it's hard to tell what the growth value here is. The easy part is the y-intercept, where our x is 0, y is equal to 0.0625. That's the easiest part. And of course, based on our answer choices, we can already see what the answer will be, h. But in many STAAR questions, they'll have the starting values all the same. So we would have to see what the growth value is. Now, remember, when it's not easy to see what the growth value is, it would be easy if we skipped these first two and said, oh, it's multiplying times 4. But excluding that, if they were all decimals and it was hard to see, remember, you take your second one and divide it by the one above it, or the last one and the one above it. You can divide any two by the one above it, and it will give you what that growth rate is. Nonetheless, we said it is times 4. That's the growth rate. The answer is H on all accounts. And that is exponential functions. Good luck.